Hello, Internet, and welcome to episode 217 of Verbal Graffiti with your host, Brian Glass, aka the B-Man, the People's Degenerate. Be careful. That is my first and last warning to all of you. Be careful. I woke up with an erection and pistol underneath my pillow, and I will not hesitate to use either. The B-Man is not somebody to be interrupted. So think twice before you say something to me while I'm speaking. And I'm coming at you right now. That's actually a half truth, half lie. I did not wake up with a pistol underneath my pillow. I don't own a firearm, although I am pro Second Amendment. But this is not a political show, so we're going to leave that aside. I did wake up with an erection, though. Often do. Ain't too shabby for a 41, soon to be 42-year-old John. I was going to say man, but I'm a John. But I did have an incident this morning that angered me. And let's set the scene, okay? I got an email, work email, last night, 12:02 p.m., 2 minutes past midnight. I got a work email. Do you know what time I responded to that email? 9:30 a.m. Because the B-Man does not respond to work emails at midnight. And this is the thing. I'm part of a new team, and I'm going to keep this vague because I want to stay employed because that's my only income, my only source of income. I'm a W-2 normie. I'm the rat race, whatever you want to call it. I'm part of it. I'm stuck inside of it. This project, Verbal Graffiti, stand up. I don't make any money. I'm a failure, utter failure at all of this. So I need to stay employed. That's why I'm going to keep this vague. Apologies in advance for that. But I'm part of this new team. I have new responsibilities, new bosses. But I got this email, 12:02 a.m. or p.m. or 2 minutes. I'm not sure. Is it a.m. or is it p.m. At midnight? 2 minutes past midnight. This person at work emailed me. He's not my boss, but he is one of the people I give my work to, and he edits it and sends it back to me. But he sent me a one-sentence email. I'm not going to say specifically what it was, but it was I got the sense that it was a passive-aggressive email, somewhere along the lines of, hey, just want to make you aware that this task still needs to be done, is still up in the air, and that you, the B-Man, is responsible for this information, this work that has to be done. Okay. You can send that to me during working hours. I get paid by the hour. So if you're going to come at me at midnight, you best be waiting 9 hours to hear from me. Because the B-Man, I ain't going to be responding to any work email at midnight, especially if it's 2 minutes past midnight. Now, if it's a hottie willing to send me some nudes or wants to give me syphilis, yeah, I'll come over. I'll respond right away at midnight. But about a colleague, a coworker who's not even my main supervisor, ain't happening. They do know I woke up with an erection, and I still got my work done. Not enough credit gets given to me and all the Johns out there for getting work done after waking up with an erection. It is magical. That's not magical. It's awe-inspiring. And I'm not going to tell you to have more respect for men because I'm not. Honestly, most men, regardless of your sex, deserve your disrespect. Most men are trash. Most of them are. The ones who wake up with an erection and the ones who are unhealthy and do not wake up with an erection are worth your ire, your disrespect, just spitting at them, taunting them, whatever you want to do to them. They deserve it probably tenfold. But it is all inspiring that the science, medicine, law, enforcement, security, engineering, bridges, everything, construction gets done. He's completed. When you realize that, well, most of these guys who do this, who do real work, I don't do the real work, but there are guys, Johns out there who do the real work, they wake up with an erection. They either use it or they lose it. And then they go about their day, their work, their task, and push forward this economy, the GDP, life, building, progress. It's an amazing species. Because when you really think about it, if you're a baby and you woke up with an erection, yeah, the fact that any guy gets out of bed and is productive, when you wake up with an erection, that's awe-inspiring. And it just, do know, I'm dangerous. I wake up with an erection, and then I have coffee, and then I have vivid thoughts that I give to you. That you, if you're a fan, you know what I have, and you're going to send me an email at midnight. Are you going to try to dance with the B-man? You're going to try to passive aggressive me. Well, sucker, you're dealing with the most passive aggressive guy on the internet. I might stay at this company for another 25 years. I'm going to outlast you. Nah, I say that generally, but I'm the most passive aggressive. I'm telling you right now. I'm letting you know, right? Do not try to passive aggressive the B-man, because I will passive aggressive you till the end of time. You hear about these married couples who hate each other, but they stay married, and they almost do so out of spite. I resonate with that. Because I would never be the one to say, let's break up, let's get a divorce. Nah, no, over my dead body. You hate me? You don't find me attractive? You don't find me manly? You don't think I bring anything to the table? Well, you married me, and you got to live with me, so suck it. Go suck a fat one. And it's probably not going to be mine because you despise me, but go suck a fat one. I ain't divorcing you. I'm digging a hole deeper. I'm going to passive aggressive you and make your life more miserable. This marriage more miserable. This work environment more miserable. I'll make everybody miserable. If you're going to passive aggressive me, let's dance. Let's dance. I really had nothing to talk about, so let's keep it moving. All right, this next one comes from the subreddit. I do think not enough gets talked about guys waking up with an erection and then still being productive. We'll come back to it at another time. All right, speaking about disrespect, this one really gets my blood boiling. This one comes from, it's not from Reddit. It's from something called Anonymous, the shopping cart theory. Let's hear it. The shopping cart is the ultimate litmus test for whether a person is capable of self-governing. To return to the shopping cart is an easy, convenient task and one which we all recognize as the correct, appropriate thing to do. To return the shopping cart is objectively right. I concur. There is no situations other than dire emergencies in which a person is not able to return their cart. Simultaneously, it is not illegal to abandon your shopping cart. Therefore, the shopping cart represents itself as an apex example of whether a person will do what is right without being forced to do it. No one will punish you for not returning the shopping cart. No one will fine you or kill you for not returning the shopping cart. You gain nothing by returning the shopping cart. You must return the shopping cart out of the goodness of your own heart. You must return the shopping cart because it is the right thing to do, because it is correct. A person who is unable to do this no better than an animal, an absolute savage, who can only be made to do what is right by threatening them with law and the force that stands behind it. The shopping cart is what determines whether a person is good or a bad member of society. This is why the B man doesn't smile. It's rare to see me smile. I don't do it often. When I work in an office environment, people ask me, Brian, you should smile. You'll never see the B man going, you know how babes complain about how strangers, guys come up to them and go, hey, smile. Yeah, you should smile. It's a nice day out. Not me. I've never told a babe. I've never told a guy, a John, anybody, a child, a little toddler. I've never told anybody, hey, smile. It's a nice day out. I don't smile. How can you smile? How can you smile? How can you have joy, happiness, love in your heart? How can you have any of that knowing that at your local grocery store there are shopping carts left unattended by patrons from your community who left them there randomly in the parking lot for an employee from that grocery store to come outside and fetch? How can you be happy knowing that's happening in every grocery store in America? You do know that every grocery store has to hire an employee to go out, whose sole job is to go outside, collect the carts that these subhumans, that these savages, that these animals won't return themselves. And I'll go one step further. Animals, stray dogs, are better behaved than whatever you want to call these people who do not return the shopping cart to the little station where you're supposed to return it. That's when people ask me. There's this philosophical question. You could tell whether somebody's a liberal or a conservative, how they answer the question, are we all equal, or are you better than other people? Or are other people better than you? And I guess I'm a conservative because I'm better than other people. I'm better than the people, the savages, the animals, the subhumans who will not return their shopping cart after using it at the grocery store. Though I'm better than those people. I behave because of this philosophy. This is classic literature. This is classic philosophy. You should have to read that post. You should have had to read that first day, freshman year of high school and college. If you attend, and let's be honest, if you're watching Verbal Graffiti, it's probably going to be community college that you're attending. This is why I walk around with clenched fist and don't smile. I think about this all the time. Actually, we have a movie coming up that we'll get to that, but the fact that I have to live in this society, that I have to walk alongside, that I have to look these people in the eye and not do anything about it. Like this person said, that person doesn't return their shopping cart, there's no penalty for it. There's no law. There's no force behind the law. There's no punishment for not returning your cart. And the fact that these people get away with doing so, and I have to live alongside them in this community, in this society, in this country, makes my blood boil. Makes me not smile. I was going to say angry, but that's such a vague, banal adjective. I wish I had a better word that had more power behind it. I believe we should change this philosophy. And all right, this is what I honestly believe this. If you live in an open carry state, speaking of pistols, if you live in an open carry state and you see somebody, a subhuman, some cheese doodle, get into their car without returning the shopping cart to the little cart station, you should be allowed to shoot that person on the spot without penalty, right? And I advise not only shooting them to death, but shooting them like not in the heart or like not in the forehead, but shoot them in a limb where they have to bleed out. And the death is slow, so they feel the pain. So it's a cruel and unusual death. Watch them lie there as the blood just seeps onto the pavement from their arm or their leg or their stomach, and watch them suffer and die for their sin of not returning their shopping cart. We shouldn't have to live with those types of people, those subhumans, those savages, those animals. Nor should you. None of us should have to. So if you live in an open carry state, that should be the. You should be allowed to shoot them on the spot if you see it being done. If they're leaving their cart, shoot them, and then whatever snack. If they have what's a good snack? If they have Oreos, take it from their cart. Go back to your car, drive away. But here's the only addendum to that law that I'm making. If you shoot a savage, a subhuman who does not return her cart or his cart to the station, and you watch him bleed to death in the parking lot, you have to clean up the guy. Right? You have to clean up. You got to pick up the body, throw it in a dumpster, get some cleaning supplies from the grocery store, and clean up the pavement, the parking spot, wherever you do the murder, the vigilante murder. Because here's the thing. It's much easier to recover a shopping cart as an employee than it is a dead body. So you're justly killing the shopping cart abandoner, but you got to clean up the body, because if you just leave the body there, that's worse than leaving the shopping cart there. So if you're doing a just murder to send a message, I don't want you leaving the grocery store shopping cart collector employee to have to clean up the body, because that's just more work for him. So yeah, shoot the guy somewhere where he bleeds to death slowly so he can think about his sin as he dies, but then clean up the body so the employees of the grocery store don't have to clean up your mess, because your mess is almost like 10 times what a shopping cart is. But that's I honestly believe that. That's why I'm pro Connecticut becoming an open carry state, so that that shopping cart abandoners can be shot to death on the spot. Whoa. You know what? You know what actually bothers me more than a shopping cart is the bicycles. Have you ever seen a bicycle? I was thinking about this recently, and it'll be in a movie I'll put up in a minute. I don't think I've ever seen a bicycle in public without a lock to it. Have you ever seen a bicycle leaned up against a lamp post or some type of pole without a lock around it? And society's gotten so bad, so untrustworthy, that it's not enough just to lock your bike to the post. You have to take your tire with you. That's how untrustworthy the communities we live in are today. Right? And even you'll lock your bike up, your bicycle. You'll take your tire so that nobody steals your bike, but then you'll come back and you'll still see your bike seat will be sliced up and diced, and people will do graffiti on your car. One of my favorite comedians, I should know, if he's my favorite comedian, I should remember his name. You would think so. What the fuck's his name? He has a great bit on one of the late night shows. It was from the early 2000s about, was it Leno or Letterman? He was on one of those shows and he was talking about the bikes. Like, dude, I'm riding a bike. I'm not a CEO, top of the company, top of the skyscraper. I'm riding a bike, and you're desecrating my bike? Come on. But that's the type of community we're living in. And we got to send a message. The light pole at the grocery store, hang them. Hang them from the pole. Kill them and hang them to the pole. And put a little, so you know. If I went to a grocery store, if any of us went to a grocery store and there were people hanging, dead people, from the light poles in the parking lot, and we all knew they were murdered and killed and hung on those poles because they left their grocery cart unattended, they didn't bring it back, nobody would not bring back their cart. That's what we got to send a stern message. There has to be a law and there has to be force behind the law concerning shopping carts. That is the only way. Murder. Murder is always the answer. Now, we're going to go into this next segment, but before we do, I made a narration, a State of the Union concerning modern day in the United States. I hope you did. I hope it makes you. I hope it gives you feels. Let's go look at it. What became of this nation? I don't see the shining city on a hill. Drive 5 miles in any direction, and this is likely what you'll see. A vacant bowling alley. Gone are the childhood birthday parties and Friday nights with friends. All that remains are faded memories and a structure in decay. How do you convey to outsiders, to new generations, that this boarded up building in rubbles was once a beacon for an entire community? The restaurant where teenagers garnish their first wage has been out of business for years. The town can't be bothered to tear it down, leaving it there as an eyesore to drive past each day. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it, and the symbolism is haunting. Every main drag is littered with smoke shops, competing for your undivided attention with blinking neon lights, urging you to take a puff of smoke, to inhale your lungs with vape, to give in to temptation. Watch out! There's another pothole. Of course there's a pothole. You seamlessly weave left and right of the cavities which have been there since you graduated high school. The grocery store contagion with no antibiotics. Abandoned shopping carts. Architecture does nothing to inspire our beaten down collective soul. Brutalist is an apropos name for these types of constructions. They serve a purpose. Get in, get out, don't loiter here. There's nothing to marvel at. Rosa Parks stood her ground on a city bus, and look at us now. Our drivers have to be barricaded from the public. Is it wrong to ask if we're moving backwards? Where's the progress? Not here. 8 p.m. and every storefront becomes a prison cell. I find difficulty having warmth in my heart with so many cold metal bars blocking my vision. Not even our bicycles are safe from theft. They must be chained to a pole, for trust is not something we possess. How does this not make you apoplectic? Why must we live like this? Graffiti. So much damn graffiti. Relentless cockroaches dead set on rattling their cans and leaving their mirthless tags. Owners no longer have dominion over their defaced property. They have been defeated. What is it exactly again are we supposed to be fighting for? Do you babes feel your uterus? Can you feel it inside of you? I was thinking about this right before I pressed record and started segment 2 of episode 217. And please share, like, subscribe, do it all. Whatever that jazz is, do it all so we can get back to 69 plus subscribers here at Verbal Graffiti. As it's been documented, it wasn't until recently I discovered that the stomach and the uterus are two different entities inside the female body. And I don't know what made me think of it. Maybe it was Bonnie Blue getting pregnant, but for some reason, I am starting to get intrigued by the uterus and what you can or what it's capable and not capable of. And I guess we should start with feeling. As a babe, if you're not pregnant, can you feel your uterus just being inside of you? Because when I think of myself, I can feel my genitals, I can feel my balls. And I'm not talking about touching them. I just, when I think of my penis and my balls, I feel them there. My heart, when I get my heart beat up, I can feel the beats going on. And when I breathe in deeply and hold it, I can feel my lungs expand and despand. What's the opposite of expand? I don't know. But I can feel the air and the oxygen going in and out of my lungs when I really take a deep breath or when I cough. But there are other organs that I don't feel. My kidney, I don't feel. My intestines, I don't really feel. Whatever else is in there, I don't feel. But with the uterus, I don't have one. So I guess I'm asking all of you, and please let me know down in the comments. Like my bladder, I can feel my bladder. Not now, but when my bladder is full, when my bladder gets full of urine, I feel it. There's pressure on it. There needs to be a release, so I pee. So that's my bladder, I believe so, telling the bee man, hey, you gotta go take a piss. So I assume, maybe this is ignorant and I'm wrong, but if you don't have a baby inside of your uterus, it's empty? Is that correct? No baby in your uterus means there's nothing inside of your uterus? So do you feel that? If you're a babe right now, think about your uterus. Do you feel it there? Or is it unfeelable? I'm gonna text my sister is a nurse. I'm gonna ask her. I'm gonna text her right now. Let's text her. I'm gonna give her an audio text. Can you feel your uterus? Well, I'll let you know. If she gets back to us during this episode, I will let you know. All right, moving forward. This next one comes from, and I am curious to hear your answers down below, so please do leave a comment, whether you can or not. And I was also thinking about the uterus. If you're a criminal, we've always heard about people, you stick drugs up your ass or up your vagina or in your mouth. Could you hide stuff in your uterus? And obviously you can't just stuff it in there, but is it possible? Cut yourself open. Let's say you know a surgeon. Can he cut you open and hide stuff in your uterus and sew it back up so you can get across borders with illegal substances? Is that feasible? I wonder. These are things I think about instead of when I should be thinking about making money, getting sniz. I'm thinking about feeling the uterus. I don't know. It's weird. Some vivid thoughts in this brain of mine. All right, moving forward. This next one comes from the subreddit, Retroactive Jealousy. Did you know that there are men did you know that there are men the complete opposite of us? Question mark. I was scrolling through Reddit, as I do as well, and I came across this subreddit called Hot Past. So this is a subreddit talking about another subreddit, very meta, where men enjoy hearing stories about what their wives did in the past. The more slutty they were, the more they seemed to love it. Guys are talking about their woman having threesomes with two men, and they get turned on hearing about it. Sort of a cuckish behavior. But it kind of puts some perspective that they are polar opposites of people like us with retroactive jealousy. Different strokes for different folk, I guess, literally. After reading some of the stories and comments, things in my own relationship don't seem that bad. Am I a cuck? Or am I just a goofball? Or am I a weirdo? Because I do enjoy hearing about the past endeavors, sexual endeavors of the lovers I'm currently with. Currently, no lovers. No one's touching Mr. Perfect or any of me. And I'm not touching anybody else. I'm not holding hands in public with anybody at the current moment. Maybe that will change. I'll let you know if it does. But I do enjoy hearing about the deeds, the stories, the mischief that's gone down prior to my lover meeting me. And do you know, we've described this. I don't like the word partner. If you're with the B-man, we're lovers. We're not partners because I'm better than you, right? If we're equal, how can you look up to me? You can't. That's why we're not partners. We're lovers because I'm better than you. That's the only way this is going to work. But yeah, that's never been a no-go zone for me. I'm always the one to bring it up. I'll ask you, how many men have you fucked? All right, how many? And I want you to specify because you babes are very good with being shady with the math when it comes to how many men, Johns, you fucked before you met me or whatever guy you're with. Because I do not, I'll ask you, how many guys have you fucked? And so let's say you say, I've been with 12. And then my follow-up question is, well, how many guys have you given a blowjob? Because I do know that a lot of you babes, most of your babes, do not include blowjobs in your total number. But then I'll go, well, what? And I get very explicit. Like how many, when did you lose your virginity? Where was it? What type of man? I want graphic detail. And it doesn't, and I don't pry for this information because I'm a cuck, right? And for me, I get no sexual gratification from it. I believe it's more so because I'm curious. I'm not oblivious to the fact that you had lovers before you met the B-man. So I'm curious about your past because it says a lot about you. When I ask you about your past, do know that I'm not doing so to judge you. I'm just doing so because I want to know you. And I want to know what type of slut you are. The more slutty, the better. I'm not looking for virgins. If you're a virgin, that's fine. But even that, the term slut is very, how should I say this? It's deceitful. I mean, me and my friend Cheese, we used to talk about this all the time. You could be you call a babe who has, let's say 1 year, she has 10 sexual partners, and you call her a slut. But then there'll be another babe who's in a committed monogamous relationship, and she's had sex 300 times with her one boyfriend, and you don't call her a slut. Well, that the math doesn't work out. That babe had sex 10 times, 10 different guys. She's a slut. But then this other babe had sex with one guy 300 times. That's 30x, right? 10 times, yeah. So she's had sex 30 times as many times as a slut, but we don't call her a slut. It should be reverse. The babe having sex with one guy 300 times, you're a slut. The babe having sex 10 times total with 10 different guys, she's a prude. That's what me and my friend Cheese think. So the more partners you've had, I just do so because I'm curious. It's not because I want to call you a slur or a speak to you in a vulgar way. It's just I like to pry for information. That's just who I am. I'll ask you these questions while we're in bed together, like spooning, because the B man, I do love to spoon. So while we're spooning after making love, I'll start peppering you with questions of your past and past lovers gone by. That's just who I'm not getting off by it. It's just I laugh at it. But I do that with everybody. Honestly, I'll walk by an apartment building or an office building or just a big building, and I wonder how many people are fucking right now. How many? I think about that with everybody. Like, who fucked last night? All right. You ever been on a Zoom call or a conference meeting and who? That lady speaking, did she have anal sex last night? Like, what was going on? Right? Was she wearing a mask? Did somebody slap her on the ass? What type of panties does she have on right now? And these thoughts go through my head instead of writing notes. But I'm more curious about your friendships than you are than your past hanky-panky lovemaking experience. I have this theory that if you have friends that you've had since you were a kid, when you were a child, if you're still in contact, if you're still friends with the friends you had when you were in school as a kid and middle school and high school, there's a good chance that you're more or less a pretty stable, good person, nice person to be around. At the very least, you're not completely batshit crazy. See, I'll judge you much more by your friend group than I will your past sexual endeavors. If all the friends you have are recently made friends and you don't communicate at all with any of the friends you had in high school or when you were a toddler or from your neighborhood when you were a kid, that is going to raise red flags and make me think you're probably someone I don't want to make love too much longer. Now, this is all dependent on the size of your jigglers and how often you let me jiggle them. But that's almost like a red flag. Like, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. You're someone I probably don't want to be in a committed relationship with because there's probably something. You probably like drama too much. The typical person, I don't like drama, but the person who says that obviously likes drama. When I lived in New York City doing stand-up comedy, there's so many comics when moved to New York City, you meet them, you tell, where you from, and they tell you whatever city or town or state they were from. And more often than not, the comic will say, I fucking hate my town. Everyone there is so conservative. They're a bunch of losers. There's nothing going on. I hated everybody in my town. But in my head, I was always thought to myself, maybe it's you. The people from your community, wherever you came from, they're probably okay. They're probably like every other community in the United States or whatever country. You were probably the outlier. You were probably the shitty person who didn't get along with anybody. And now you're bringing it to New York City. And that's why New York City is chaos. So when you keep changing friends or when you've lost a friend that I knew about, I'll pry about that. Hey, remember that babe you went to the bachelorette party with in Texas and you had that boat ride? You were really close with her, but now you haven't talked to her in a while. What happened to that? And they go, oh, well, we lost touch because there was this incident, and you get an answer. And you put it away. And then when there's another friend lost, you ask about that. And then usually there's a pattern. And usually you're the common variable that's causing the strife in those friendships. So that's something to keep an eye on. So your sexual past, I'll ask, but I'm not judging. I'm just doing that because I'm a weirdo. Your friendships, That's where I'm judging you. And that's where I'm prying for information to decide whether you're worthy of the B man's love and attention and affection. And that's just the advice I give you. Now, hey, if you're a cuck and you get off at your lover's sex past, good for you. We're no shame here. At least you're with a babe who is fuckable by evidence of she's been fucked prior to meeting you. That's hey, good for that. But yeah, I don't view myself as a cuck for inquiring about the sexual history of my lovers. Maybe you call me weird, but hey, that's just me. That's just the B man. Go suck a fat one.